I imagine there's various reasons why you chose this film, because there's a lot of things in there that kind of echo some of the things that you've been through as well at the same time.
Well, whenever you read a script, you always imagine what parts of yourself, I think, would work with the character and what parts kind of go against the character. You know, how close is this character to you? And I think that me and the character both share so much rage. And that was one thing that we really connected on. And I kind of had to bring out my rage in order to play her, which I have put down for a good minute, but it always comes up in little spats randomly. And I can feel it's trying to get to the top. And for this character, I just let it all go in that way. And I think that you can tell when you watch the movie how much hatred I have in my eyes. There's like something a little disconnected when I'm looking at these characters because of this something being wrong in the brain, you know, something snapping at a certain point of time. And now she's like this. And I hope that you can see that when you watch me on screen.
And then also, obviously, I think you're very picky when you choose things. And I could kind of tell that when you choose things, you do it for a reason to kind of fly in the face of your fears and your grievances and things like that.
I think you need that real heartbreak and that real terror in your soul to understand why, a real reason of why the character would do something like this and go this far.
One thing is for you to use that to kind of portray and to kind of hone your skill now on the screen. But is it, at the same time, is it not something that really concerns you, that people are going to see that and kind of, do you not mind spilling that out on the screen as well to people?
No, I think that anyone who really researches me, follows me online and whatnot, definitely can see how open and honest I am.
Yeah.
It's kind of the real core of my soul, and it's really a core of my brand. That when you think of me, you think of honest and out there and not always something you want to hear. Which pain, look, people don't, you know, people have a very interesting way of reacting to emotional traumas. And I've had a lot of emotional traumas, so I'm not so much scared of them anymore, or to talk about them, if that makes sense. I think it actually makes them much scarier when you don't talk about them. The more you talk about them, the more normalizing them it feels. And it's good to, I think, look back on something traumatic that's happened to you, and for it to no longer be traumatic, for it to just be something that just happened that one time.
One of the themes in the film is this kind of the fine arts. And Shane he brought it into the movie just because he thought it would be a different theme than we're used to in home invasion horror movies. But there's one specific scene where you talk about your favorite piece of work, which also kind of echoed a little bit kind of your life in a way. You mentioned about the apple in front of this guy, and there's always something hiding behind what people can see that they want to see behind there.
Yeah, I think that I think that that's something that everyone relates to. You know, there's always this mask, and whether we find ourselves surrounded by it or us ourselves wearing it, it's something that everyone does, that everyone relates to. And it depends on what mask you're looking at, you know, and in this case, this one's very dark.
Okay, so I mean, over the course of the last kind of 18 months or so, from what I've been looking on Twitter, you must have been one of the most prolific people at the moment. I mean, you wrote on Twitter, and in the next 3 months, you got 3 movies coming out, 2 songs coming out, 2 music videos, loads of things coming out. The book that's come out. how have you managed to be
Not
so
just the
prolific?
stuff that's coming out, not the stuff I'm working on.
Stuff that you're working on still. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I did mention that I'm shooting 3 more movies and shooting this many more things.
So, I mean, how have you managed to be so prolific, confined at home?
I don't know about prolific. That sounds like a great, gorgeous word.
Oh, it is. You've got plenty
Well,
in the pipeline.
I work a lot, and somehow the movies end up coming out back to back sometimes. There was, I think it was last year, the year before, I think it was 4 movies in 2 months. It was like 2 movies and then 2 more. And it was like, how do you even promote this many movies at one time? Like, I'm always like, hey, studios, don't you guys want to, space them out a little bit? Because, if my fans go see one movie, they might not go see the other because they don't have money to spend on the other or something, and so I'm always like, guys, you shouldn't put them so close together. But yeah, I work a lot, and I get things done, and then somehow everything comes out at the same time.
And I mean, the book that you wrote, was that something that you wrote before confinement?
Yeah, I actually wrote that book on the set of Paradise City, which is a show that I did. And I walked around the whole set, literally, with my typewriter in my hands. So I wrote the whole book on a typewriter. It's super gnarly looking. Yeah, you should pick up a copy. It's really, really gnarly looking. It's called Mental Disarray because this volume is called Mental Disarray because the book looks like the inside of my head, if that makes sense. It is literally a disarray. But yeah, it was really funny to walk around on set with this big, heavy typewriter, and everyone's talking, and I'm just like writing away, and everyone's like, what is she doing bringing this typewriter around to rehearsal? Like, what is happening right now?
Why did you go with a typewriter?
I liked the typewriter. I love vintage. I love new and vintage, like very, very vintage and very, very new. I don't like anything in the middle, if that makes sense. And I thought that the look of it would be much more intriguing than my handwriting, because here's what happened. I wrote 2 books. I wrote them, hand wrote them, to make into one. I lost both of them on a Delta flight. Lost them. Gone into the abyss. And I talk about that in my opening, in my intro for this book. And I also talk about the reasons why it might have also been because my handwriting gives too much of me. It's like the literal inside of a person's brain. You can tell a lot about someone by the way that they handwrite. So I said, no handwriting. Now we're doing typewriter. We're gonna go for it. It's a lot more
difficult to lose a typewriter on a Delta flight, no?
Yeah, that's a little bit harder to lose.
Brilliant. And so I want to talk a little about your future. So I mean, obviously you've directed music videos. You recently directed a horror music video, which was kind of like an erotic home invasion covered in blood. Is that something that you'd like to do? A horror movie? Did you get the horror director bug after doing that?
Horror is my favorite genre. Horror, thriller, psychological, I put them all under one genre, because if you have a great movie, then that movie usually incorporates all of those in one. And I've never been the girl to put on a comedy. Like, that's not me. Romantic comedy, there's only been a few over time that are definitely in my, top favorites, like Wedding Crashers, White Chicks, there's like only a few, but I'm just not the rom-com or in general comedy type of girl, nor am I really super drama. I don't really love to watch drama unless it's still fucked up. If it's not fucked up, I'm probably not watching it. So yeah, it's definitely in my realm of what I will be directing and writing, because it's inside me. You know, it's something that I've loved since I watched The Grudge when it came out. I was tiny. I don't even remember how old I was. Like, it's just, it's a part of me. Yeah.
So I'm guessing you got a few ideas. I mean, if you did actually make a horror movie, what kind of horror movie would you probably go for as the first one, if you could do?
Funny you mentioned that. I really want to make a I was talking with my sister about co-writing, and then I was talking about finding as well a third writer to write it with us. That no one's ever done a really amazing shark movie with heart, with the real psychological. They mostly just go for the shark scares, and I want to make a movie where we can trust the lead character's perspective, and that drive home the horror more so than the shark, and have her experience all these traumas that she went through when she was younger while dealing with this shark. And I also want to find a way to romanticize it as well, and romanticize the shark. Guillermo del Toro does it best, in my opinion. He's amazing at romanticizing his evil characters, his monsters, his villains. And I love that. I think it's so layered, and no one's really done a super layered, great A24 looking shark movie. You're just like, oh shit. Yeah.
The only one I can think of is, what was it called? Was it 47 Meters Down or something like that?
And 47 Meters Down was a great movie, but not but a great shark movie. You know, this is going to be psychological and emotional and driven in trauma. The movie will be driven in trauma, emotional trauma that happened when she was younger, basically, that comes out while she's, you know, losing her mind, basically, you know. I also think no one ever plays with in shark movies enough, like water deprivation, sleep deprivation, these types of things that really might get you more killed than the shark eating you itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to finish off then, I know you've got a few films coming out. Obviously, one of the next ones is Habits, with the trailer just come out now.
Yes.
That must be kind of a crazy release, because I was just reading that over 275,000 people signed a petition to block the distribution. That must be crazy that you've got a film coming out that so many people don't want it to come out.
Yes. And I don't blame them. You know, I understand that the movie and the things that we deal with in the movie, wow, the character really loves God. And the director as well, who wrote it, she as well loves God. This is like a page out of her book, if that makes sense. And she was raised really heavily to love God. And it's her experience, you know. And I understand why they signed the petition. I understand that they're upset, but they don't have to see it. But this is someone's life that was raised this way and wrote a movie about it. And a lot of other people as well were raised this way and probably will understand a page out of this movie. And so I just don't think art should be
I think I know what you mean. I mean, if it was a documentary, I'd understand, but because it's fiction, it's like comedy. Yeah. Like, you can make jokes about God, or you go about whatever, and it's just a joke. It's comedy. It's not real, and that's, I think, the same with art, no?
And you know, we don't make a joke. That's the interesting thing. We're not making jokes about God. It's the fact, I think, that the character was raised religious, and she does drugs in the movie and a few other things. She's a sexy character, like, you know. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I think if you don't want to see it, don't see it. There, everyone wins.
Yeah.
You want to see
Bella. We're out of time. It's been really good to speak to you. I wish you the best of luck with all these crazy amount of projects that you've got going on. And hopefully I get to speak to you sometime soon about this nuanced killer shark film.
Yes. Killer shark.
I don't think I can trust you.
You know, one day I want to have exactly what you have.